Hey everybody. All right. So today I was playing with some cameras, some lighting, and I think I have a new option. So here we go. Anyway, here's my new setup for now. I'm working on lighting, but let's get into some code. And I want to make sure I have all of that up and ready. Oops, I want to go here. Should be live. Great. And that should be now live, and it is. 3000. All right, let's see. Ta-da. All right, and this is now running. Let's go to the dashboard, make sure the call still works. Remember, there is a lowercase issue. It still works. All right. All right, so for this one, we are using Polygon. So let's go to Polygon. Pricing products, dashboard. Yeah, I'm on the free plan. Hey, look, there's my API key. I should probably change that now. I'm going to change that right now. And I want to copy this. That's one of the things about doing live. There's things that are going to pop up when you do it. So manage API keys, add API key. Great. And which one do you see? That one. So let's go to stocks. No. API keys, RESTful docs. This is actually where I want to be. And then in here, let's see what kind of data we have. We have stock tickers, multipliers, time span. So what if I do a time span of more than one day? Let's just see what that does. We'll do 2. Run query. Oh, and I get results over a range. But it doesn't give me, interesting, it doesn't give me a date. All right, let me kill that API key before I go any further. Okay. Yes. Great. I'm going to keep that documentation open, and I want to go back to API keys, and it generated this new one, and I want to delete this. Delete key. Great. All right. So in here, I am actually getting a lot more data than I anticipated. I will need to see how this is going to come through with something like Postman. So let me go into Postman, because that's how I like to test all my APIs. And here we go, and here's the call. But before I do that, I need to update my key. And I gotta do that. Where's my dashboard? Documentation. Let's bring this over here. Back. API keys. Great. RESTful docs. API. Great. And I think it has my new key in there. Yeah, it does. So that'll be fun. But we can actually use Postman for everything we're going to do. I'm going to go into Postman. Variables. Authorization. There. Let's save that. And go back into here. I want my open closed for whatever date that was. Send. Great. Okay. There we go. Oh, and I think this still works too. It does. So these are the results. Up here, I want to play with the date for an open close. So I can change this to a variable. And I think I have stock. Great. So if I do that and I send, and that now was Microsoft. All right. I wonder if I can make that a little bit more readable. That looks so much better. All right, so we know how to do that. We know how to get multiple dates. So now what we need to do is make a call that actually returns multiple dates. So let's go back into our API in our route here. Boom. Now remember I'm setting this in my environment variable. And that will actually be broken right now. So let's verify that. If I enter this, yep, failed. And why is it failing? Because I just changed my API key. So then I have to come back here. And I think the easiest way to do it is this way. I'm going to do this, do this. That is now better. Let's close that. And now I come back here and I'm back. So now if I enter it, MSFT, data, and we're back working. All I had to do was update my API key. Everything just started working. It's pretty nice. About that dashboard. Okay. Oh, Next.js. Yeah, that gradient's actually really nice. Okay. So now that I'm here, I want to do multiple dates. And let's see if I do Polygon IO, and I know better than to log in on a live stream because it will actually show my API key immediately. So I'm going to go to RESTful docs. And I'm going to copy this. Actually, I really just want to copy this. All right, so let's get back to Postman. And I'm going to create a new new request, add request. And this will be stock range. And I'm going to paste. So this will actually be the stock, the range, the multiplier, right, is the size of the time span multiplier. What does that even mean? I don't know. We'll figure that out. All right, so then we have a start date, which I think I already have a date in. So start date, and then I already have an end date, and that'll be end date. Adjusted sort limit 120. Oh, how many? The number of base aggregates queried to create the aggregate results. The max is 50,000. The default is 5,000. That's just aggregate results. So let's say a company has 100,000 and you want to aggregate on that. It'll actually take, the default is 5,000, so it'll take 5,000 and aggregate them. Sorting ascending, sort the results by timestamp will result in ascending or the oldest at the top. Yeah, that's fine. So that means I should get the range. I don't know what this multiplier is. The size of the time span multiplier. Oh, if the time span is a minute and the multiplier is 5, then 5-minute bars will be returned. Okay, so what I'm doing is a time span of a day right here. And that means I want it for each day, which is fine. So if I send this, but why did I only get 1 day? Oh, because my end date is probably the same as my start date. Great, so let's go into here and change variables. And I will change this to 24, this to 24, and we will do 0101, which the market's closed, but it's fine, to 0131. Right, so now we have a start and end date that actually spans time. Save that, come back here, start range, and then send. Now, as you can see, I get a lot more. Great, this is, and it returned 21. Why not 31? Because of weekends and holidays. This will only turn the open close date for open market open days. So now we have all of that. We know what these values are. Let's just go through this real quick. V is the trading volume. VW is the volume weighted average price. This is the open, this is the close. That's the high value, that's the low value. What is T? Oh, that's the time span for the start of the aggregate window. So this is the actual date in Unix milliseconds. And N is number of transactions in the window. There you go. See, look at this. The volume's insane. What did I get? What's the, oh, it's Microsoft. That's why. All right, so we have all of these dates. We want to actually do it based off of. So watch this. If I come here and I go convert Unix timestamp to date time, and I will enter it, and that's the 31st. And let's do the next one. So if I go to the next one, close that. Did I do that? That should be the 30th, right? And as you can see, it is midnight in my time zone, which is kind of cool. Then, and this one will be 29th. Perfect. Now let's go one more because this one should be Friday. Yeah. Like I said, it's only going to give me the ones of the open market dates. So then if I go to the very first one, that should be the second because the market's closed on the first. And it is. Perfect. Yeah, I use things like this to actually make sure the data is coming back that's correct. Then I can actually do something like Fidelity, Yahoo Finance, or Investopedia, or whatever one. And then with those, I can verify that the stock prices are right. But, dashboard. All right, let's get back to a symbol. Data, great. Open, close. And that is for yesterday. Pretty sure that's for yesterday. Let's look at the code. Day range. It is not. So let's add a date since it's only one day. Let's add a date. So that's for the API, which is fine. But I want my dashboard right here. Oops. So let's do input ID equal start date and end date. Yeah, and we'll only do dates because the range of what I'm actually pulling is pretty straightforward, right? It's pulling the open close of the previous date. And whatever the end date is, it has to be the day before, but we'll do validation in a second. Let's see. So let's just save that and see what we got. Great. Start date, end date. Probably want to give a label. Um, oops. There we go. Let's do this. Yeah. Great. I don't like the layout of that. So I'm going to fix that. Container, data container, input container, display, flex, and then flex direction column. That's better. Cool. Then I want this one to be the right of that. So let's do that. Start date, end date. That should close this. And then this page styles content. So let's go into content, flex direction, row. There we go. I actually don't need this. It'll default to row. Great. So MSFT, fetch data. I can use spacing and things like that. And I can clean all of that up. Like I could put the easiest way to do it is just throw another div in the middle. I'll give it, I don't want to do it. I want to do it the right way. So let's go into here. And then in here, is it called content? I forgot what it was. Let's take a look. Yeah, content. Padding. New margin. There, I moved it down a little. There's a thing called gap. There we go. See if I make that 12. Something like that. All right, we'll make it 5. That looks good. For now, we'll play with it later. But now we have input, start date, end date, and it automatically gives me a picker. So I will pick the 1st, and I will go to the 15th and fetch data. And nothing changed. Why? Because I'm not passing these variables yet. So all I've done so far is actually set the inputs. So let's pass those variables. Come back here, start date, end date, and I think that's the name of them. Great. So then fetch, it's passing the ticker, right? But I need to get the start and end date. So let's do that. Start date, end date. Great. And because I'm lazy, I'm going to do it that way. So now it's getting passed, and now I need to have the API actually handle it. So this will be the start date. And this will be the end date. And we will do start date. And we might need to format it. We'll see. And end date. And we want this to be start date and this to be end date. And what I really want to do right here is log it out to see what it's getting. Start date, end date. Great. So now when I make this call, nothing changed because invalid status code. And let's see what the end date is not a function. What? Oh. Plus. So it wrote it out like this. And I'm gonna actually, you know what? I can actually look because I checked it in to see the format of it. Actually, that format is correct. So this might just work. Let's see. It did. That's kind of crazy. So it's logging it correctly. We can see that down here, right? Because Amazon is just, it's a random, right? I'm writing out the current stock, which I really don't care about. But I do care about the response. Response.json, data. Great. So let's come back to the dashboard. And then in the page, set post data. Data. So it's taking the first one, right? Because we're getting multiples. So now if I change this, no wonder. Yeah, what I'd want to do is actually graph it. I'm running out of time. It's 7:30. We're getting multiple data sets, but let's make sure that that's actually happening. And how can you do that? Easiest way is actually just make sure that the data that you're returning is coming back. And that should be written out right here. So let's save this. And I'm logging the data. So I'm going to refresh this. I'm going to enter Microsoft. Set a start date. That's an interesting point. That should be a required field. So I could set a default value and it could be like yesterday's date, which actually isn't a bad option. So if there's no date passed, I should set that to for today. But let's just do that. And we'll do data validation tomorrow. And fetch data. Great. Now, let's see what happened. Did I mean HTML4? No, I did not. Yeah, I did. So let's do that. There. Let's stop it. Clear it. Run it. There we go. Ready. Refresh. New data. Microsoft. Start date. End date. Fetch data. Great. Console log. Data. Set post data. So yeah, that logging is kind of silly. Mainly because that data is not going to get called until the state changes, right? And that state change is actually in the set post data call, right? So when that actually changes, that will get updated down here. And then let's try this console.log data. Okay. Fetch data. I want to try something. What if I do this to be 1, 1, 1, 1? I'm going to save that. So now if I change this, I don't have to change anything. So right now it's 406. It should change. And it did not. Let's see if I change this to here. Okay, that changed. If I change it to here, that's back. It's still returning the first one. Yep, great. So let's look at the API. Return response. Await. Let's see. Console.log data. Great. So now if I fetch that, there we go. That's what I was hoping for. So in here, it's returning 6. Is that the total count? Yeah. So 6 days. And let's see if that's right. So here, and it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and including that one. So it's an inclusive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6 days. Perfect. Data, results, this. So now that I'm getting this back, 407, I want open 406, 12, 407, 96. So let's go into here in results. 1, 1, 1, 1. And 407 is the first one, right? Yeah, 407 is the first one. Whoops, sorry. 406, 12, 407, 96. What is that number? Oh, yeah, it's the second one. So it was working. That's crazy. Oh, is it updating that quickly? 2, 2, oops. 2, 2, 2. It is. 3, 3, 3. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so great thing about Next.js, it actually updates, but the data is already in the state. So because of that, all I have to do is change the value and I can actually loop through them. So what I want to do is now create a graph of that. I want to do some validation um, right here. I want to do character validation for this, field validation for this and this. Because this needs to be filled out. This should be filled out, or I should have it as a default value. If I don't have it a default value, that'll be something else. And then default value for this. And then I want to have a range right here. So we'll do a graph of that. And we'll play with that tomorrow. That was actually kind of cool. Let me make sure. I think that's all coming through. Yep, great. So let's put this back. There we go. Got the data, got the navigation, got some styling, did a little bit. Cool. All right. So playing with cameras, playing with lights, did a little CSS, did a little API update, rotated my API key. Security is important. Always start with security. It makes it so much easier than trying to add it on to the end. Anyway, I am going to, I wonder if this works. Yeah. Hey. All right. So I'm playing with cameras, playing with angles, and playing with mics. Also really having fun writing code again on APIs and using Postman and pulling all that together. I'll do more on this tomorrow, but thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all, I guess, tomorrow morning. Have a good one.